In the U.S., stock index futures were slightly higher this morning as market participants awaited further earnings reports. At around 2 a.m. Eastern Time, Dow futures rose 11 points, indicating a positive open of more than 9 points. Futures on the S&P and Nasdaq were also seen marginally higher. Corporate results are the biggest market focus. Morgan Stanley, PepsiCo, Abbott Labs, and U.S. Bancorp will update investors before the bell. Las Vegas Sands will also report their latest results. The Dow Jones ended Tuesday on a higher note on earnings. BlackRock and Bank of America rose on stronger than expected results. On the data front, there will be international trade data figures out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time and wholesale investors due out at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Away from the equities market, Vietnam and Nigeria plan to intensify the trade and investment, particularly in the areas of agriculture, garment, footwear, mining, and production of construction materials. Speaking at a bilateral trade and investment forum in southern Vietnam, the deputy director of the Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry says that many African countries, including Nigeria, have become important economic partners of the country. Trade between both countries has shot up from $250 million a year between 2012 and 2016 to $433.5 million in 2017, with Vietnam running a deficit. Vietnam exports 52 items to Nigeria, including mobile phones and components, textiles, footwear, cigarettes and tobacco, among others, while it imports over 80% of its raw cashew nuts, wood and wood products, and cotton yarn. Zambia is partnering with foreign investors, especially the Chinese, in the farming industry to improve national food production. According to the Minister of Agriculture, Michael Katambo, Zambia's partnership with China will scale up investments in the farming industry in the country. He says that the Chinese have also shown interest in investing in the country's aquaculture sector. Agriculture sector is one of the major revenue generation contributors towards Zambia's economic growth, and the government has set aside 100,000 hectares of land across provinces to open up farming activities on a commercial basis. Mr. Katambo says that Zambia should be turned into a regional food basket in the next few years because of the anticipated increase in investment. And ratings agency Moody's has warned again that South Africa's growing government debt linked to bailouts of state firms will continue to pressure the country's investment grade status. Moody's also says that the country's debt could hit 65% of GDP over the next 5 years, but doesn't plan to downgrade the country to junk just yet. In a research report released, Moody's says that South Africa's credit profile is supported by the strength of its core institutions, deep and well-developed financial sector and markets, and its limited exposure to foreign exchange volatility. However, key credit challenges stem from slow growth amid persistently high unemployment, particularly among young people. The ratings firm is the last of the big three agencies to have South Africa above full junk status, retaining debt ratings at investment grade since 2017, with this now on review. In the meantime, the chief executive officer of the state-owned electricity company Eskom says that the days of surprises are over and the company just needs to speed up the process of turning things around. He explains that a breakdown in corporate governance and the financial viability of the business were the biggest challenges faced by the company, but the situation is now under control. Eskom, which provides 95% of electricity to the country, announced earlier this month a plan to minimize power cuts after an assessment with a technical review team identified the root causes of unplanned breakdowns. The new Medupi and Kusile plants have ballooned to more than 300 billion rand, and the discovery of defects will add further to their costs. However, it says that there are encouraging signs for the next boilers to come online. And Zimbabwe's inflation increased for a 10th straight month to 66.8% in March. Zimbabwe has had hyperinflation, deflation, and rising inflation in the past decade and has now revised the weights and base year of its consumer price index. According to the International Monetary Fund, inflation in the southern African nation peaked to 500 billion percent in 2008, prompting the government to abandon its currency in favor of the U.S. dollar. Zimbabweans are in the midst of an economic crisis as they face shortages of bread, fuel, and foreign currencies. And oil prices rose for a second day today on signs of strong demand from refineries in China amid tightening supply as producers curtail output and as oil inventories in the United States fell unexpectedly. International benchmark Brent crude oil futures rose 29 cents to $72.01 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures were at $64.49 per barrel, up 44 cents from their previous settlement. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics shows that China's refinery in March rose 3.2% from a year earlier to 12.49 million barrels per day. And precious metals market gold prices were higher today as the dollar weakened, but the metal stayed near a 4-month through a better than expected economic readings from China-lifted Asian shares and sharpened risk appetite. Spot gold was up 0.2% at $1,278.50 per ounce, while U.S. gold futures were up 0.3% to $1,281.20 an ounce. Elsewhere, silver gained 0.7% to $15.08 an ounce. Spot platinum rose 1.3% to $887.50 per ounce, while palladium also climbed 1% to $1,363.45. All right, let's see how co-working is redefining the future of work and, of course, SMEs when we return from this break. Just stay with us.